Yo, I'm just about to do a random podcast. Well, it's not really 100% random. First of all, let me thank you, the audience, for tuning in. If you're a true fan of this motherfucking podcast, I'm talking about a real fucking fan, not a phony baloney fan. I mean, fucking for Jesus Christ's sake. Like, not a fucking goddamn phony baloney ass fan. But if you are a true as fucking Foxtrot, that's AF, true as Foxtrot ass fan, then we495 most fucking goddamn certainly appreciate you. For real. The whole purpose of this particular episode is for me to just say some random shit about house music. Because I'm like listening to house music and shit as I travel for work. And, yeah, man, there's two types of house music. There's the corny as Foxtrot ass fucking house music where it's just like, you know, just droning on, you fucking stupid, corny as Foxtrot. If y'all don't know what I'm talking about. Corny as fuck, okay? F as in fucking Frank. Foxtrot, that is. You're like, dude, what's up with the military phonetics, bro? I'm like, I don't know, dude. It just sounds funny. I mean, in real life, military phonetics are serious shit. But I'm just saying, like, you know, corny, AF, you know, Alpha Foxtrot. Yeah, some fucking house music is cornball, man. It's fucking just dumb. And you know that, like, music's like, boom, 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 boom. It's like, how can you vibe to that shit? Like, how is it boom, 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 boom? It's like, that ain't dope. That's not dope. That's fucking cornball. Boom, 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 boom. And then a lot of these fucking cornball DJs, well, you know, they suck dick. Dicks. And all they'll do is they'll take, like, some acid loops and shit. Bitch, why don't you fucking stay in your goddamn fucking lane? They'll take just some, like, fruity loops or some, like, acid loops. Just some fucking loops in general, some loop-de-loops. And they'll just play some fucking corny patterns that are pretty cyclical. And they're pretty fucking, garbage. I mean, I could have said they're mediocre, or they're lackluster, or they're just not fresh. But I just figured I'd just make it simple. They're garbage. Just a lot of recycled BS, man. Because when I listen, and you know, and I've been talking about this for a while, and I've been quiet about it for like a month, well, ish. I gotta get back to what I was saying, man, about this weird timeline that's like altered by quantum entanglement. You know, where there's the country Niger, which never existed ever before. It's Niger, but now they call it Niger. Daylight savings time. There's no such thing on this timeline. It's daylight saving time. I'm telling you, dude, I'm not schizophrenic. I was a fucking whiz kid, and I still am. It's the Mandela effect. Quantum entanglement. Quantum computers. Google is the quantum computer system now. Did you know that? Yeah, man. I mean, I talk to people, and I tell them, I'm like, hey, yo, man. And they're like, nah, man. Like, some kid today even told me that supercomputers don't exist. And I was like, yeah, they do. And he's like, no, not yet. And I was like, okay, does he mean quantum computers don't exist yet in his mind? Like, he's thinking that they don't? Because they do too, and they are supercomputers. And then I realized, man, he was legit talking about fucking, that is legitimately talking about supercomputers in general. And I was a bit alarmed because he works in IT. And I was like, and he's a defense contractor. So I was like, what? He's like, yeah, supercomputers don't exist yet. And I was like, yeah, they do. And he's like, nah, man, not yet, what? And dude, the look on his face was kind of scary, man. Because I'm like, yo, okay, I know the Mandela effect is weird as foxtrot. Like, I mean, we created it, but nonetheless, like, observation of it is weird as foxtrot. It's like, wow, we created the Mandela effect, CERN, hyperspace, exploratory research, you know what I'm saying? Fucking with time and shit, time manipulation, quantum fucking tunneling, you know, programs, man, hyperspace surveillance. Like, that's us. It's us. We did that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know it sounds bonkers, but that's what our government, and we are the government, that's what we've been doing. Fucking with timelines, man. Some people don't know, man, but the South actually won the Civil War the first time. I'm just saying. So when you look at how we've been tinkering with time, remember when everyone felt like, when people who are observant of such, remember when they like first even figured out that there had been these micro changes in the fabric of reality? Remember when the Mandela story like broke and people were like, yo, wait, hold up. And they heard the strange ringing sound in their ears, some of them, and it was like half the population, and then they said it was confabulation, and then the like mathematician was like, no, it's not, we've ruled out like memory, it's a real phenomenon. So then what is the source of that? And one could only infer that it's and deduce that it's CERN in fucking Geneva, Switzerland, and shit, DARPA in conjunction. That is NSA. That is Google. Look, man, people just don't fucking know. Google has for its backbone quantum D-wave, delta dash wave, D-wave fucking computers as part of its backbone. Functional, working, actual, factual, quantum motherfucking computers. Now, when I was in high school, if you were to say some shit like that, and by the way, Google was zero, that is null, existent at the time. If you were to share with folk back then, yeah, in the future, there are going to be these quantum computers that pretty much like map all of like human society, and then you can search for anything you want by like doing this thing called Google, as in like Googleplex. They'd be like, dude, you're out of your fucking goddamn mind. What the fuck did you just say? And yes, we heard what you said. And yes, you are an insane person. Well, that's now. So, minus the insanity. So, given what I just said, as indicated, man, a lot of people do not know quantum computers exist now already, and the military uses D-Wave. NASA is using D-Wave. CERN is using D-Wave. I'm talking classified versions of D-Wave. Modified versions of D-Wave. Souped up military government grade versions of D-Wave. Now check this out. That's not a conspiracy theory. That's Googleable. Like, you can fucking see where that's being done. I know for a fact that it is being done. So it's not even a question. It's not even questionable. It's unarguable. Unfucking doubtedly. It is, as I always say, irrefutable. Need I even say incontrovertible? Your boy Grove, if you're a fucking fan, I'm your boy. If you're not a fan, then I'm not your fucking boy. But if you are a fan, your boy, One Sir Grove, Rhyme fucking Traveler, is sharing with you that Hugh Everett 3, that is the third, was absolutely spot on correct about the multiverse and the multiple worlds interpretation. It's not a theory. It's been fucking confirmed. And it conflicted his mind. Nonetheless, he worked on highly classified programs for the U.S. intelligence community, that's USIC, up until the time of his passing. So Hugh Everett 3 was right. You don't have to believe the story of John Titor. You can say it's a hoax. You can believe like that fucking stupid kid, the hoax hunter. You can believe that it's fake and made up. And even if there is someone in the future who steps forward and says, I made up the story of John Titor. Even if someone does, the point about there being multiple universes is absolutely true. The IBM 5100, the hidden component, the APL ROM, that is absolutely true. Microsingularities that he talked about being detected, that happened at Brookhaven National Laboratory, and it was covered up. They said that it didn't happen, but there was indication that it did, because they initially said that they created a black hole in a laboratory. Then they changed their motherfucking story. Now check this out. Back in the day, to say that you open a black hole in the laboratory, it's like I was talking about. In high school, if you had said some shit like that, you would be labeled and deemed insane. Now keep in mind, now it's for real. Quantum computers, Google, before they were non-existent. So, in the same light, in the same respect, the same is true of microsingularities. If you told someone that you created a black hole on Earth 20 years ago, they'd be like, okay, you need to be locked up in the loony bin. You're a loony motherfucker. You are out of your G-damn mind. Well, now, artificial black holes are created in laboratories all the fucking time. All the time, man. Quite regularly. Google this shit. Google it! So, Google quantum computer... Excuse me. Basically, every fucking goddamn thing that is considered science fiction, the saying is now that everything that is science fiction eventually comes true. That's what people are saying now. So, quantum computers, Google, the internet, AI, Terminators, basically everything in the movies is becoming for real. That is non-fiction. So, if you look at causality, if you look at causal sets, if you look at retrocausation and retrocausality, I've talked about this before. I'm a rhyme traveler, I'm just saying. Rhyme scientist. Chief. Rhyme scientist. In the context of what I do and who I'm affiliated with, I'm just saying, you know, people have their different functions. I'm the rhyme scientist. Chief rhyme scientist. So, and I have an academic background in science. And have applied science in industry. So, what I am saying is that if you look at causal sets, if you look at causation, retrocausality, if you look at that information, that is, consider it, think about it, contemplate it, take it into account. What you see, man, is that when we manifest these things that were previously thought to be science fiction, when they happen, when they're created, when they're generated in the real world matrix. Because I know y'all don't know about the Russian scientist cosmonaut who went up in the space capsule, and they used sound frequencies to generate human DNA. That is the double helix. Out of fucking thin air. I know y'all don't know about that. There might be one fucking person out there in the audience that's like, yeah, I know about that. I'm talking about in motherfucking goddamn space. Space. Near zero gravity. Using sound wave frequencies out of thin air materialized double helix. A double helix pattern. Like human genetic material DNA. Like, how is that even possible? Like, how does that, like, okay, so you generate sound. So sound is emanating. Sound is being propagated. Sound is perpetuating. It's being broadcast. There's a goddamn fucking signal broadcasting, and in thin air, human DNA strands begin to appear. What the fuck, man? What the fuck? So, it sounds crazy, right? You're like, nah, Grove, come on, bro, stop it. That ain't real. Yeah, it is. And it freaked their minds out. And one of the scientists had to lock himself up in a dark fucking room. Keep in mind, he's like a physicist. Molecular biophysicist. He had to lock himself in a dark fucking room for like a month to try to wrap his brain, that is his mind, around what he witnessed, what he saw. As did others, because it's not supposed to be fucking possible, but it was and it is. So that's when people figured out, like, yo, hold up. Sound frequencies can generate shit out of, like, fucking nowhere. Where is it coming from? How are these sound patterns, frequencies generating reality around us? Yeah, man. People talk about rabbit holes, like the rabbit hole going down the rabbit hole. Well, that's kind of a unary verse, right? It's kind of a universe. I would say that there isn't but one rabbit hole, that there is an infinite number of rabbit holes. I'm not trying to sound prosaic, man, or philosophical. I'm just saying there are, that is an infinite number of plural rabbit holes. It's not just motherfucking one. And yes, that's the beginning to the movie, The One with Jet Li. There isn't but one universe. Some shit like that. And this is the same shit. That's what I'm talking about. Hugh Everett 3 knew that, figured it out in math. He knew that his math was correct, and he's like, yo, hold up. This is not right. Hold on. How can this be? He figured it out mathematically. Now listen, understand. He didn't necessarily know what the ancients knew. All right? He wasn't living in a time with high-speed internet like we are now. All right? So, it's not like he could, Google, Google the information and use YouTube and do, like, quantum, like, research using, like, Google, which is a quantum computer. And some people still don't buy it. They're like, Grove, stop it. Google's not using a supercomputer as part of its, like, processing, like, engine, like, background, like, backbone spine, like, internally, external, like, however. Like, Google is not attached to, augmented with, has not integrated into its body of, like, parts, moving, unmoving, however it's put together, Grove. The goddamn fucking internet, Google, that is, the company, the tech giant, is not connected to quantum fucking computers. And I'm like, yeah, it is. You must have missed the update, because yeah, it is. So here's another thing, man. You know how these people at Google were, like, all freaked out about the, like, Alpha? Like, Google Alpha? You know how they were, like, all freaked out about the military projects, like AI and shit? Well, I'm someone who knows that whole fucking story is all contrived up. Like, yeah, no, I know there are people at the company that are, like, freaked out because they're seeing shit that the mainstream public doesn't know about, keep in mind they're under NDA. So they've signed non-disclosure agreements. Keep in mind they're only giving you they're only sharing with you a limited part of the story, portion of the story. They can't tell you the whole fucking thing. They're seeing shit that's freaking out their minds, and they're computer programmer developers. So they're seeing shit that they can't even tell you. What they're telling you is that they objected to the goings-on of said military government defense science projects. Because let's just put it into perspective. We're talking about defense science, like the Defense Science Office, DSO, like Delta Sierra Oscar, DSO, Defense Science Office, like DARPA. They're freaked out about shit that they're seeing, man. I'll give you an example. Othello, the game, the AI that took over the two AIs, and it had to immediately be disconnected from the internet because the two AIs started to communicate and create a new language that crypto mathematicians, I'm talking about like crypt analysts, like people at NSA, CIA, DARPA, IARPA, people in the U.S. government, scientists working at Area 51 and other agencies, some of which the entire existence of said agencies is fucking unknown to the public. I'm talking about agencies that are so secretive that those agencies' names are fucking classified. And nobody in mainstream society even knows the fucking name of those agencies and what they consist of. So, mathematicians, scientists, physicists, computer fucking scientists, talking about the broad range of experts, they saw this shit that was being like created by these AIs, and they had no fucking idea what it was. They had never seen this shit before. And the military, like top brass, they were like, pull the plug, pull that shit, get the fuck, take that, turn that fucking goddamn shit off now. So they pulled the plug, man, because what we're looking at right now, man, is that we're on the verge. We're on the cusp of some shit becoming fucking real. All right? And I'm talking about, as I indicated, shit has already become fucking real. Shit you've seen in the movies that you thought was fake 20 fucking years ago is now real. You can't say it's fake anymore. You're like, I gotta give it to Grove. Like, I used to think that the shit he was talking about was crazy, but it all came true. Wow. Interesting fucking world we're living in here. And you notice how more and more people who used to be skeptical are talking about the multiverse, and they're like, well, maybe there are parallel universes. The more I think about, I know, I wasn't gonna budge before, and I had my doubts, but upon further thought, I have to say, perhaps there are multiple alternate parallel dimensions, realities, universes. It's like, yeah, dude, finally you fucking admit this shit. But yo, man, so I was right the whole time, which I always knew I was, not to brag, but I was right, and I told you. So, now that you know, and I told you so, the other thing that's becoming fucking real, man, like right out of the movies, because it's like, that's my point. What are the movies, man? Where does, like, I know, like some people are like, dude, I hear what you're saying about things becoming, like, for real, like, that have previously been science fiction, but, what are you talking about, like, the movies? Like, what are you saying, like, what are you really talking about, Grover? Well, since I was right about everything that I've been saying forever, what I'm also right about is this. Where do movies come from? Where does the Terminator movie come from? If you look at digital physics, right? And all of this shit is supposed to be non-local intelligence. Like, we're all vessels, right? We're all these, like, shells. Kind of like Westworld. And then we have our own individuality, supposedly. But you ever notice, man, like, sometimes, man, like, if the room's quiet and you're, say, in a group, right? Everyone's quiet because they're part of some shit like, I don't know, man. Maybe they're in a classroom or something, or church or place of worship or whatever, right? And then someone gets a little tickle in their throat and they're like, and then they finally clear it, right? Then someone else does too, and you're like, huh, interesting. And then maybe like a third person does it. You're like, huh, everyone's clearing their throat now. Like, why when I did it, everyone else, like other people did it? That was a really interesting cause and effect chain reaction. Like, maybe that person was just like, okay, well, that person was comfortable enough to do it. I guess I'll do it too, right? What about when you're having a conversation with someone, man, who you've never met, and you start to synergize, and you're talking about a particular topic that you're both familiar with, and you finish each other's sentences, and you're like, whoa, that's fucking weird. Like, what the fuck? I knew you were going to say, yeah, oh, you know what? Non-local intelligence, right? Because we're all really just one mind living out all these different slices of reality, right? Is a theory. So when you look at Project Blue Book, man, and you look at that alien that's in the room, I know. The dude is a puppeteer. He's a Canadian fucking animatronics special effects wizard. I know this shit is not actual footage from goddamn Project Blue Book, but the audio is. The audio is from Project Blue Book, Majestic fucking 12. It's what the goddamn fucking Greys have been talking about. And that's what he says, is that humans are not capable of comprehending. Because what we think to be reality is a construct. It's a design. And there are multiple universes. He talks about that too. The fucking Zeta, Reticulin, the Gray, he talks about that too. You gotta be keen to this shit, man. You gotta stay fucking woke, okay? Trying to help niggas stay woke, alright? So peep game. So I know it sounds convoluted to some. I know it sounds fucking baseless. I know it sounds nuttier than fuck. Foxtrot, that is. But yo, check game. When you are observant of extraterrestrial, that is non-terrestrial, that is outer space intelligence information, it sounds like Men in Black, the movie with Tommy Lee Jones and William Smith. Doesn't it? I mean, it sounds corny. And it sounds silly and goofy. Outer space intelligence information. That's fucking stupid. But that's what it is. It's outer fucking space intelligence. Space intelligence. It's intelligence information about space is a fucking domain. Hyperspace is a domain. Non-terrestrial intelligence information. Interdimensional intelligence information. Hyperdimensional intelligence information. Paradimensional, transdimensional. I could go on. And if you think I'm just making up these fucking names, these are designations that have been fucking declassified by the FBI, CIA, and other agencies. You can read about transdimension. They even have niggas that are ultra-dimensional. Yes, I use the word ultra. I'm not the one that made up the fucking word ultra. God damn it. I'm not the first one. I use it often because I know what the fuck it means and what it stands for. I put it in raps and shit. I put it in the lingo. Yeah, I use it to capitalize on fucking the music industry, urban, rap, hip-hop. You know what I'm saying? Because I actually work on projects myself. So that's my point. In science. So that's my point. I'm saying to you, there are ultra-dimensional beings on record with the FBI, CIA, and U.S. intelligence community, Department of Defense, civilian and military. They have a classification, category, type. You have transdimensional beings, hyperdimensional beings, paradimensional beings, and motherfucking yes, I said ultra-dimensional. You can read that shit in the CIA CREST files. Yeah, man. Shit's fucking weird. So talk about Stranger Things in the real world. Talk about Interstellar in the real world. Talk about Farscape. Even DARPA was using the expression Farscape for their projects, their programs. The fucking TV show Farscape, DARPA had incorporated the concept of Farscape into DARPA projects and programs. Started to refer to certain DARPA programs as Farscape projects. Straight up. I know. Because I applied to DARPA on another timeline a long ass time ago. And a long time ago, I visited DARPA before I moved the operation to New York, and I met with program managers about a multi-dimensional data mining program. That's all I'm going to say about that. On 2 different occasions. I'm just saying. Just pitched an idea. Couple times. So, truth is fucking stranger than fiction. So, I'm just saying a long time ago, man, back when I was on the West Coast, before I came out here to New York and became an Empire Stater. Yeah, man. I had applied to DARPA. And, I mean, shit, this is back in what? The 90s, early 2000s and shit. And, you know, I know a lot about different agencies, man, prior to even working. I knew a lot about agencies prior to working as a civilian, government defense contractor because I'm a whiz kid. And I studied this shit when I was a fucking kid, back when the world was different, back when the universe was different, back when she actually says, mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the... That's right, y'all are going to say fairest of them all, right? You were going to say fairest of them all because y'all remember that being said, and it wasn't a trick of your fucking human mind. No, it was not. No, Grove is not fucking crazy, delusional, mentally ill, or insane. You were going to say fairest of them all. And now you too find out that there's no history of that on this fucking timeline. Because in this overlapping universe, she never fucking said that. There's no trace of it. I know someone who told me, and I felt bad because that person told me that that person was going to go and find a record of one of these instances of the timeline that we remember. I told that person, senior citizen, I said, look, it doesn't exist here. Don't waste your time. I don't want to tell you too much about the Mandela effect, but since you were in the military and you had a top secret security clearance, I just felt it right to share with you that our fundamental reality is being changed. I'll just leave it at that. Berenstein Bears don't exist here. Ed McMahon doesn't fucking exist here as the publisher's clearinghouse spokesperson. Where I'm fucking from, he was and is. With the roses, with the check, with the confetti, with the fucking flowers. Come on, dude. Mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the fairest of them all? But she doesn't say that here on this timeline. Because your mind consciousness is here in your human body, but this isn't the same fucking timeline. It's been overlapped with another one. With another universe. It's an intersection of different universes. There was no fucking Niger. I'm not crazy. I'm telling you what half the world fucking remembers. There was never a country pronounced Niger. Never, ever was it. And I'm a fucking whiz kid. I was a fucking child prodigy. It's not that I didn't know because I was a child. It's that it was never spoken ever in media, any fucking wherever on earth. No. And there was no such thing as daylight saving time. That sounds fucking fruity, nutty, wacky, fucking psychotic and dangerous. It's daylight savings time. I know the difference between Sally Fields and Sally Field. It's Sally Fields with an S fucking plural. Everybody fucking goddamn knows that. It was never a question. Now it may seem trivial to some of y'all, and you may be saying, Grove, we always just pronounce things differently and people thought it was one way. I'm talking about fuck you. No. In writing, it was Sally fucking Fields. It was Berenstain Bears. There's no such thing as Berenstain. People would have been like, why is it stain? What is stain? Berenstain? What, are they staining something? It was never fucking stain. We're not fucking stupid. We're not like, oh, okay, it's like Berenstain, but everyone's like mispronouncing it, calling it Berenstein. I was a fucking genius when I was a kid. And I would have questioned some shit like that, like, okay, I know the rules of English, and I went to German fucking language camp over the summer. That says stain. Why are people saying steen? Well, the reason people say Berenstain Bears is because that's what it always fucking said, was Berenstein. And then flash forward to this overlapping, intersecting universe with another universe, and one day, fucking fundamental reality shifted. And now it says Berenstain. And every instance of it says Berenstain. Half the population fucking remembers 100% crystal clearly what the fuck it used to say. Mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the, oh, she doesn't say that anymore after all. Yeah. So if you don't believe the Mandela effect's fucking for real, after what I just shared with you, you might want to take another motherfucking look at what you think to be fucking true and for real. Because there are countless examples of the Mandela effect, gradual micro changes in reality. And when you start to look at the John Titor story, as nutty as it sounds to some people, he got a lot of shit right, man. How the fuck could he have known? People even said that he's a dangerous psychotic because of the number of things that he got right. And the people who scrutinize and ridicule the story, they've only heard half the story. I've seen the whole fucking story. That's the other thing that's alarming, is half of it was scrubbed from the motherfucking internet, and then it was retrieved by some hackers. If you read the whole fucking story, the first part of it doesn't sound fucking far-fetched at all. And then it becomes quite scary because then you're like, yo, this is fucking for real. So then you're like, well, how did he actually travel through time? Because, man, look at it like this. Let's say that the person who created the story, if it is a story that's fake, imagine that somebody created this fucking story and it's all just totally random shit. But this person is a genius, a prodigy, like Ken Jennings, right? Jeopardy, if you don't know the reference. This person is just so forward-thinking, so insightful, so fucking knowledgeable, has some type of like Daniel Tammet, like photographic memory, eidetic memory. This person just got like 20 fucking 5 things right that even the CIA and the like intelligence community didn't fucking see. Forward thinking wise. They had no fucking idea. So, just like apparently someone didn't know that Kim Jong-il, not but ill, the father had died for like fucking 24 hours. CIA didn't even fucking know that the dad was dead, passed, deceased. So how could someone get as many things right as the author of John Titor if they're just making up some shit? I'm talking about a lot of shit. He was right about the micro singularities. People scoffed and mocked and laughed. They're like, a fucking stupid motherfucker talking about black holes being created on Earth. That's fucking Louis. Now, black holes are created artificially in laboratories all the fucking time. The other thing, the other fucking thing is that Australian physicists, we sent particles, that is humans, doesn't matter if they're Australian, fucking humanoids, successfully sent particles backward in fucking time. I said backward in fucking time. That was headline news. NASA admitted to the existence of portals in space. They don't say where they go. They don't say exactly how they function. They don't explain that. But they tell you that there are portals in fucking space above Earth, just right outside Earth's atmosphere. There are these mysterious portals that exist, and you can see ships going in and out of them. You can see ships going in and out of them. That's real shit. Now, mainstream society doesn't know that and doesn't believe that because they think that it's some made up shit. They don't realize that NASA already admitted to it. There's all kinds of shit like that, man. So there are portals that exist. Time travel is motherfucking real because our government is working on time travel and has been involved in time travel and has manipulated time. That's what I'm talking about, retrocausation, retrocausality. So once these technologies are achieved, then that means we already did it before. Once we do it, that means in the continuum, we already did it before anyway. So we're just doing it again. DSI analyze. So folks in the intel defense science community, observers, analysts, researchers, analysts, we know this. Whatever we create in the time-space loop of it all, we already fucking did it. And we figured out mathematically there's a recursive time loop back to the year 1983. If you look at these people who were considered wackadoos and crazy fools, and people say, oh, it's just some tomfoolery, it's just some hogwash. If you look at these people who have come forward like Bob Lazar, Preston Nichols, Al Bielek, these different types of individuals who people are like, oh, they're kooks, man, they're fucking out of their minds, they're fucking totally like, loony, and it's all just like delusion, and it's all made up. But then you find out like George Knapp, investigative reporter, you find out that Bob Lazar isn't making up the story, that there are records that he's worked for the military, that he is a physicist, that he has been at fucking Area 51, and that he has worked on advanced extraterrestrial craft. Did you also know that 2/3 of the planet admits and believes and knows that UFOs and extraterrestrials are real? Now think about that. That's an actual fucking statistic. That's on all continents. Before, it was fringe. Like, you were on the fray. You were part of the fray, man. You were on the fringe of fucking society. You were considered a social outcast. You were ostracized and alienated from the tribe, from the clan, from the group, from the crowd. They're like, yo, man, don't be talking about that, man. Especially at this job, bro. You get fired. Like, man, come on, bro. Like, you work in the realm of science. Don't talk about UFOs. Man, look. Now, it's a different world. People know the shit's real. So many people fucking know. 2/3 of society know. The other third, just living in fucking denial. U.S. military government, man, was the last government on the planet to hide the shit. Now the U.S. government admits to it. So the Greys, they talk about they traveled through hyperspace. They came to this Earth from another Earth, and they traveled thousands of light years to get here. Offset, temporal, space-time divergence, right? We all know that from MJ-12, Project Blue Book. Traveled thousands of light years to get to this Earth from another Earth. You see, that's what John Titor's talking about. 2 degrees or less of divergence. That's what Sliders is talking about, the TV show. Where do these fucking TV shows come from? Someone's mind, right? They have these ideas to make these TV shows. But where do the ideas actually come from? If we're to go with digital physics, that means that all or some information that we have in our minds is non-local intelligence. It's somehow received by us as like receiver antennas. So, I mean, Even the doctor who was taking implants out of humans, who it was determined that humans had implants because humans have been chipped and implanted by aliens that have chipped humans for a reason, because the story is that they've come back in time for surveillance, man, and they need to find out what happened. And that's why they're fucking here. And they're originally from Earth, and then later they made their way to Zeta 4 and the Zeta Reticuli system, but they're originally from here. So they travel through time, they come back here, they set up shop in Zeta Reticuli and underwater and in the mountains, and they're doing observation, reconnaissance, intelligence gathering to figure out what fucking happened on their timeline and this timeline in relation to their timeline. I'm just saying, I mean, that's what's on fucking file with the U.S. defense science community. So where does Atlantis come from? I'm talking about Stargate Atlantis. Where does it come from? Where does the idea, where does the concept come from? You see, when you start to look at these TV shows, Gene Roddenberry, right? Star Trek. Why is it, and not only why is it, but how is it that the U.S. military has a directive? Okay, I'm talking about a U.S. military fucking directive. The U.S. military, the Navy, and the Army, and the Air Force, and the Marines, they've been directed to create everything. Listen, everything in the same way that the world of Star Trek exists. They looked at all these different futures, all these different timelines, all these different worlds. They looked at all this different information. They had kids who were young, prodigious geniuses, whiz kids, prodigies, middle-aged, older folks, seniors, teenagers, young adults, people who knew comics and fucking fantasy and sci-fi. And they created a secret branch of the intelligence community to take a look at every fucking book that's ever been written, every story, every timeline, anything that's on fucking human record in terms of sci-fi, fantasy, and so on and so forth. And they said, of these timelines, which is the most ideal, which is the most suitable for us to create our universe? So they decided that Star Trek was the most ideal. So the military has been directed, and look, William Shatner's the one that fucking told me this shit, man. Okay? He's the one that went on the show, and he talks about it on the show that came on TV. And you can go to Google and you can look at everything that was ever created based on Star Trek. Smartphone that you use, that you have? Yes, your smartphone. This is from William Shatner, okay? And the U.S. military and and human record. Your smartphone is based on the tricorder, okay? It's based on motherfucking goddamn Star Trek. CD-ROM, same shit. NSA created CD-ROM technology based on what? Star motherfucking Trek. I'm not making this shit up, man. Nah, dude. Nah. To make some shit up like this, come on, man. Like, who would do some shit like that? Like, how could you even make up some shit like this? So, yeah, when you find out that what I'm saying is absolutely fucking true, then you're just kind of like, okay, well, damn, Grove is right again. Like, I thought the shit was fake, but it ain't fake. Damn. So, like, the military was directed to create everything like Star Trek? Wow. So we're creating Star Trek? Yeah, dude, we actually are. So then in terms of retrocausality and retrocausation, where did Gene Roddenberry get the motherfucking idea? Do you get it? Where did he get the idea? Where did it come from? If we're making it, how was he so keen to get this information, to derive and infer and deduce and to come up with, conjure and like conceive of and create and materialize, bring to fruition this information of Star Trek? Seems really coincidental, man. All of these all of these different so-called stories that are works of fiction, somehow they all come fucking true. How could that be mathematically that they're all coming true? Quantum computers, AI, Terminator robots. I've talked about this before. When Hollywood, which has always had an intimate relationship with the U.S. intelligence community at some point, when producers went to DARPA and sat down with DARPA and consulted on the subject of the Terminators, military robots, when DARPA revealed to these Hollywood producers what DARPA had, the producers in Hollywood were fucking alarmed and startled and stunned and couldn't fucking believe what they were seeing, because DARPA, this is real shit. Don't take my word for it, man. Look it up. Don't fucking believe anything I'm fucking telling you, man. Okay, without cross-referencing the information. Don't take my word for it. So look, when Hollywood producers went and met with DARPA and showed DARPA what ideas the Hollywood producers had for this movie Terminator, when DARPA showed the Hollywood producers what DARPA actually had, it's a true, absolute fact that those Hollywood producers were fucking scared and couldn't understand what they were seeing, and they were mind blown, and they were startled and alarmed and shaken to the core of their existences, because not only did DARPA already have those Terminator robot schematics, but they had already been built, and they were already more advanced than anything you saw in the original movie. And that's real shit. That is on fucking record. So how could DARPA have already had Terminator conceived? I'm talking about from the fucking movie. How could DARPA have known about Terminator robots that looked exactly the same, but more advanced than anything that was in the first movie? Yeah, the probability of that, have you done the math on that yet? Have you done the mental math on that yet? Have you taken a look at that mentally? Now, have you done the calculation with software or by hand? So yeah, does it sound like a fucking coincidence at this point, all of this shit? Is it all just coincidence? Are all these people just like forward thinking? They just happen to know all this shit because they're so gifted. They just happen to know all this shit that ultimately becomes reality. Maybe there's something else going on here, dude. Maybe the story of John Titor is someone who came up with what that person believes is some totally outrageous like story that they're like, yeah, we're going to write this story. And then these people are going to be like, oh yeah, Tales of a Time Traveler, John Titor. Like, and we're just never going to admit to it. And then they'll just wonder, like, okay, like, how did I get all this stuff right? Like, it'll just blow their minds. Like, how did I know that, like, towers were going to fall? You know what I mean? Like in the skyline in New York. How did I know about, like, micro-singularities? How did I know about this shit, like, 25 years before anyone would have ever thought that this shit could be fucking remotely fucking true? IBM 5100, APL 360, hidden compartment, fucking decryption. You know, on board fucking hidden, stowed away like secret in the IBM 51. So many different motherfucking things. Rotating black holes. I mean, come on, man. General Electric. The goddamn fucking time travel for displacement, for time displacement is a patent. It's a U.S. goddamn fucking patent. So look, the technology's patented. Dual rotating black holes. We know that Kerr black holes are navigable. We know that the technology, man, works because White Jude, the warp-filled interferometer, works. NASA thought it was a hoax. Then they figured out that it actually fucking works. They were like, it's an anomaly, but then it worked like 100 times, then 1,000 times, and ever since then. So it's not an anomaly. So White Judae warp-filled interferometer is a real technology, which is warp space technology, which is DARPA IXS, which is the USS fucking Enterprise, which is time travel. Because warp speed, you are traveling through fucking time, which is time displacement. So John Titor, why did the government, man, black op the story? Why was it scrubbed and sanitized from the internet? If it's a hoax, why was half of the story hidden? Why was the IBM 5100 bought up at yard sales all across the country? Because that's what the NSA, CIA, and DARPA did. They went around and they bought fucking working models of IBM 5100s at yard sales. They had a secret buyback program, and you cannot find a working fucking IBM 5100. If you find an IBM, there's something wrong. 5100, there's something wrong with it. It's non-functional in the sense of it's not optimal. You will not find a fully functional IBM fucking 5100. You will not. Because if you did, you would have an onboard APL 360 fucking ROM program that if you were to create an emulator for that, you could crack fucking codes that you're not supposed to crack and know about. So those IBM 5100s were sanitized, were scrubbed, were fucking bought up from existence to help deter and minimize and mitigate the possibility that someone would have their hands on a fully operational IBM 5100. If you go on YouTube and you look at the fucking IBM 5100 videos, no one has a fully functional IBM 5100. No one. No fucking one. Because the NSA, CIA, DARPA, it's like finding files from Nikola Tesla. If you have Nikola Tesla papers, man, if you have actual Nikola Tesla papers, man, that have never been published, if you actually own Nikola Tesla papers because you find them in a basement, real fucking men in black are coming to your house, bro. Like, you cannot have them in your possession, and they will come and fucking take that shit if you find that shit. And that's fucking for real. That's an absolute fucking fact of reality. So that being said, since one Sir Grove knows these things, I'm saying to you as well, there is no working IBM fucking 5100. No, sir, no, ma'am, there is not. In a college research lab, university somewhere? No, fuck no. At the NSA, at DARPA, at CIA, yes. Outside that domain, scope, fuck no. So, the person who conceived of John Titor, just like Star Trek, just like Farscape, just like Terminator, it's like, even if it's a hoax intended to be, how is it all coming true, man? I'm just saying, like, what was that person, that author, picking up on, and from where, and how? And how are all these things, like, coming, the top? Even a CIA remote viewer saw 9/11 before it fucking happened. That's declassified. They didn't know exactly where, they didn't know exactly which buildings, but they knew. And if you look at what the CIA remote viewer knew in the declassified information that you can read, every instance of everything the remote viewer iterates, remarks, states, asserts, says, communicates, conveys, you're like, yo, that's 9/11, unfucking, undoubtedly, unarguably, irrefutably. Same thing with John Titor. John Titor knew some shit, man. Somehow, some way. Might have thought it was a hoax when he was writing the story. Just like the Pelican Brief. What do y'all know about the movie The Pelican Brief? I'll leave it at that.